July 28th, 1899, Volume 2. The Cross is the noblest mark in the soul. This morning my adorable Jesus came with an appearance all admirable and mysterious. He was wearing a chain at his neck, hanging over his whole breast. At one end of the chain one could see something like a bow. At the other end, something like a quiver, full of precious stones and gems, which formed an ornament of the most beautiful sort on the breast of my sweet Jesus. He also had a lance in his hand. While in this appearance he told me, "The human life is a game. Some play pleasure, some play money, some their own lives, and many other games they play. I too delight in playing with souls, but what are the jokes I make? They are the crosses which I send. If they receive them with resignation and thank me for them, I amuse myself and I play with them, delighting immensely, receiving great honor and glory, and letting them make the greatest gains." As he was saying this, he began to touch me with the lance. All the precious stones that the bow and the quiver contained came out, and turned into many crosses and arrows, which wounded the creatures. Some of them, but extremely few, rejoiced, kissed them, and thanked him, engaging in a game with Jesus. Others then would take them and throw them in his face. Oh, how afflicted Jesus would be left, and what a loss for those souls! Then Jesus added, "This is the thirst which I cried out on the cross, which, unable to quench entirely at that time, I delight in continuing to quench in the souls of my dear ones who suffer. So when you suffer, you come to give a refreshment to my thirst." As he came other times, and I prayed him to free the confessor, who was suffering, he told me, "My daughter, don't you know that the noblest mark I can impress in my dear children is the cross?" July 28, 1902, Volume 4, A Spirit of Continuous Prayer. Continuing in my usual state, I found myself outside of myself, and I found my adorable Jesus, who, not wanting to show me the troubles of the world, told me, "My daughter, withdraw. Do not want to see the evils, most grave, which are in the world." And on saying this, he withdrew me himself, and while carrying me, he repeated, "What I recommend to you is a spirit of continuous prayer, the continuous effort of the soul to converse with me, whether with her heart or with her mind, with her mouth, or even with a simple intention, renders her so beautiful in my sight that the notes of her heart harmonize with the notes of my heart. I feel so drawn to converse with this soul that I manifest to her not only the works ad extra, meaning external, of my humanity, but I keep manifesting to her something of the works ad intra, meaning interior, which the divinity did in my humanity. Not only this, but the beauty that a spirit of continuous prayer makes her acquire is so great that the devil is as though struck by lightning, and remains frustrated in the snares he lays in order to harm this soul." Having said this, he disappeared, and I found myself inside myself. July 28, 1904, Volume 6. The soul who is detached from everything finds God in all things. This morning, as I was in my usual state, blessed Jesus came for a little while and told me, "My daughter, when the soul is detached from everything, in all things she finds God. She finds him within herself. She finds him outside of herself. She finds him in creatures. So it can be said that for the soul who is completely detached, all things convert into God. Even more, she not only finds him, but contemplates him, feels him, embraces him. And since she finds him in everything, all things administer to her the occasion to adore him, to pray him, to thank him, to draw close to him more intimately. And besides, your laments about my privation are not completely reasonable. If you feel me in your interior, it is a sign that I am not only outside of you, but also inside, as though in my own center. I forgot to say at the beginning that the Queen Mamma brought him to me, and since I was praying him to content me and not to leave me without himself, Blessed Jesus answered in the way written above. July 28, 1906, Volume 7, The Daringness of the Soul. Jesus defends her. Continuing in my usual state, Blessed Jesus came for a short time, and as soon as I saw him, I took him and clasped him in my arms, but so tightly as if I wanted to enclose him in my heart. At that moment I saw some people around me saying, "How daring she is! She takes too many liberties." And when one takes liberties, there is not that esteem and respect that one should have. I felt all a blush in hearing this, but I could not do otherwise. And the Lord said to them, "It can only be said that one loves, esteems, and respects an object when one wants to make it his own. And when one does not want to make it his own, it means that he does not love it, and therefore he has neither esteem nor respect for it. For example, if one wants to know whether someone loves riches, in speaking to him about riches, he holds them in the highest esteem. He respects rich people, for nothing else than because they are rich, and he would want to make all riches his own. If, on the other hand, he does not love them, in merely hearing one speak about them, he becomes annoyed, and so with all other things. So rather than blame, she deserves praise, and if she wants to make me her own, it means that she loves me, esteems me, and respects me." July 28, 1915, Volume 11. One who does the divine will is so much identified with Jesus that their hearts become one, so they share the merit of saving souls. I was repeating my laments with Jesus, telling him, "How is it that you left me? You promised me that you would come every day, at least once, and today the morning is gone. The evening is ending, and you are still not coming. Jesus, what a torment your privation is! What a continuous death! Yet I am all abandoned to your will. Even more, I offer you this privation of you, as you teach me, in order to give salvation to as many souls for as many instants as I am deprived of you. I place the pains which I suffer when I am without you, like a crown around your heart, in order to prevent the offenses of the creatures from entering into it, and to prevent you from condemning any soul to hell. But with all this, O my Jesus, I still feel my nature being shocked, and incessantly I call you, I search for you, I long for you. At this very moment, my adorable Jesus reached his arms around my neck and squeezing me told me, "My daughter, tell me, what do you desire? What do you want to do? What do you love?" And I desire you, and that all souls be saved. I want to do your will, and I love only you. And he, so you desire what I want. With this you really hold me in your power, and I hold you. You cannot detach yourself from me, nor can I from you. Then how can you say that I have left you? Then he added in a tender tone, My daughter, one who does my will is so identified with me that her heart and mine form one single heart. And since all souls who are saved through this heart, and as its heartbeat is formed, they take off toward salvation, coming out from the mouth of this heart. I will give to the soul the merit of these saved souls, since she wanted together with me the salvation of those souls, and since I used her as the very life of my own heart. July 28th, 1922, Volume 14, Likeness of the Soul to Jesus, not only in the deaths of pain, but also in those of love. I felt all immersed in his most holy will, and my sweet Jesus on coming told me, My daughter, identify your intelligence with mine, so that yours may circulate in all the intelligences of creatures, and receive the bond of each of their thoughts, in order to substitute them with as many other thoughts done in my will, and so that I may receive the glory, as if all thoughts were done in a divine manner. Expand your will and mine. Nothing must escape you which is not caught in the net of my will and of yours. My will in me, and my will in you, must fuse together, and have the same endless boundaries. But I need that your will be disposed to extend within mine, and that nothing escape it of the things created by me, so that in all things I may hear the echo of the divine will in the human will, and generate my likeness in it. See, my daughter, I suffered double deaths for each creature, one of love and another of pain. In creating her, I created her as a complex, all made of love, so that nothing but love was to come out of her, so much so that my love and hers were to be in continuous currents. However, not only did man not love me, but ungrateful he offended me, and so I had to repay my divine Father for this lack of love, accepting one death of love for each one, and another one of pain for the offenses. But while he was saying this, I saw my sweet Jesus all in one flame, which consumed him and gave him death for each one. Even more, I could see that each thought, word, motion, work, step, and so forth, were as many flames which consumed Jesus and vivified him. Then Jesus added, Would you not want my likeness? Would you not accept the deaths of love, as you accepted the deaths of pain? And I, my Jesus, I don't know what happened to me. I still feel great repugnance for having accepted those of pain. How could I accept those of love, which seem harder to me? I tremble at the mere thought of it. My poor nature is annihilated more. It is undone. Help me, give me strength, for I feel I cannot go on any more. And Jesus, all goodness but determined, added, Poor daughter of mine, courage, do not fear, and do not want to trouble yourself because of the repugnance you feel. Rather, in order to reassure you, I tell you that this too is likeness to me. You must know that also my humanity, as holy as it was, and immensely eager to suffer, felt this repugnance. But it was not mine. It was all the repugnance that creatures felt in doing good and in accepting the pains which they deserved. And I had to suffer these pains, which tortured me not a little, in order to give them the inclination to good, and to render their pain sweeter, to the point that in the garden I cried out to the Father, "If it is possible, let this chalice pass from me." Do you think it was I? Ah, no, you deceive yourself. I loved suffering to folly. I loved death to give life to my children. It was the cry of the whole human family that echoed in my humanity, and I, crying out together with them, to give them strength, repeated as many as 3 times, "If it is possible, let this chalice pass from me." I was speaking in the name of all, as if it were my own thing, but I felt crushed. So the repugnance that you feel is not yours. It is the echo of mine. If it were yours, I would have withdrawn. Therefore, my daughter, since I want to generate from myself another image of myself, I want you to accept. And I myself want to mark these, my deaths of love, in your will, expanded and consumed within mine. And as he was saying this, he marked me with his holy hand and disappeared. May everything be for the glory of God. End of July 28th. Fiat.